Hi, Chris Fox, Fox Construction, Tailored Custom Homes. We're here because we're trying to get you as much information as you need to be able to make an informed decision and to be able to be in the home that you really love and enjoy. Chris Fox, Fox Construction, Tailored Custom Homes. I'm here with Hunter Harmon, local broker, and we're going to go over the real estate market. Thank you for coming, Hunter. Appreciate
Thanks, Chris. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Let's go into it. What do the latest market statistics tell us about the future of the 30A real estate market?
Every aspect of the market has turned to a point where the transactions have bottomed out completely. Currently, there's 161 active properties, and you've got roughly 7.5 months of inventory right now in the entire market. Whereas, if we would have been talking back in February or March, we'd have been looking at about 11 to 12 months of inventory.
Right.
In some categories, about 14 months of inventory.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a good time to be looking at the data right now. We like to look at different categories, not just the entire market. We like to look at different categories as it relates to price points. Detached homes. We like to look at the condo market and see kind of where things are. Not building a whole lot of new condos on 30A. So
no, we're not.
You're not building too many. So build a lot of houses, but not as many condos. So the condo market, is always, it's interesting to look at it to see where we are. As we go on through the data, I mean, I was really impressed with some of the numbers that we've seen this year. I mean, we've achieved, the market itself has achieved $41 million on sale. The highest sale that's been recorded ever in the area, and 3 sales in the last 12 months over 20 million in the area
These
right
are
now.
Great numbers for our little area.
Yeah,
people have figured out where they want to be.
Yeah. I mean, it's impressive to see how how we've actually continued to expand the top end. You have the Alice Beach, and the Alice Beach has really helped with expanding that top end, and then everything kind of falls underneath it. I mean, the different communities actually have their price point. Look at these numbers right at the moment. I just think that we are clearly back to somewhat of a soft seller's market right now.
Well, let me ask you this. Let's go pre-COVID. So 2015 to 2020. What is this reminiscent of that level of months of inventory, or is it above or below, or?
I would say that we're still elevated on just overall inventory, just because we haven't stopped building. Right. I mean, there hasn't been a moment where we've stopped building, and in COVID, we actually compounded the building. So
we did. Everybody was building as fast
as they could build it, and so the whole area, there hasn't been a period of slow growth since the Great Recession. Right. Between 2006 and 2011, those years, those were I would call it slow growth. The area's never stopped growing though, even during the recession. I mean, when you have the level of infrastructure being built in the area, it's hard not to. I mean, I think this is a really good opportunity right now for buyers, and it has been a good opportunity probably since 25, going from 25 into where we are now. Great opportunity for a buyer to buy something, but I still think there's opportunity for a buyer to buy stuff now because we have good inventory.
Are home prices on 30A heading up, down, or sideways over the next 12 months?
Prediction of that stuff is really very difficult. Right. I would say that in certain areas, depending on the age of the property, really, it kind of comes to the age of the property. I mean, a lot of the things that we see that are moving the market higher are really newer stuff, newer homes, newer product, that type of thing, and that's obviously that's what gets bought first. Right. But based on the numbers that I see throughout, I believe we are probably at an early stages of the market pricing firming. I think that we're seeing that trend right now. Okay. And that goes to things such as when you look at, say, the detached home market right now on 30A, you had the last 12 months you had 1,103 sales. And the previous 12 months, you had 850. Oh, wow. So you see the acceleration. Right. Unless you're bringing more to the market, you're going to see a decline in the active sales, active listings for sale. And so, that's just one category. But when you start to look at some other areas, I've just been real impressed with, different spots, 2 million to 5 million. I mean, it's the same kind of thing. You're looking at about 6.5 months of inventory available, and in those price points.
Right.
The number of sales that has occurred between, like $1 million to $1.5 million. I mean, you have, previous year you were at 262. This year at 326. I mean, and so every category, look at the percentages of acceleration of absorptions.
Right.
Absorptions change so fast, and the number of inventory, the number of months available changes pretty fast too. And so we get to this point right here. Well, usually I like to get to about the end of July, and that kind of tells us really where we are.
Right.
And because let the 4th of July come in, that's when we're fully, we're at full capacity.
Right.
In the area. So what happens through that period,
Right.
And once we get to the end of July, I think we really will have a real good handle on where we are related to the pricing.
The newer home inventory you think is really pushing this. You said you've done the numbers, I think you said the 4th time this year. When do you feel like that pendulum started swinging upward? Like at what point this year?
I think that it's occurring now. I think pricing, the overall pricing trend is in a change. It doesn't happen like that. It
Right.
takes it's all about absorptions. And so I would say that the key element is, when did transactions bottom? And we believe that it appears that transactions bottom sometime at the end of last year, because we're seeing a consistent trend of upward absorptions.
Okay.
And that's an interesting.
What are the biggest trends that you're seeing from buyer behaviors across Northwest Florida?
I see buyers' behavior right now really changing. People are always looking at inventory. They're looking at homes in this area. I think the buyer population continues to expand. I would say first quarter of this year, probably most of the buyers that were looking at real estate, if they come in town, they look at something, there's no urgency for them to move.
No, there wasn't.
At all. And so they have this mentality that they're the only one looking at real estate. As we've moved into the spring of this year, it's a kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy where you actually somebody's looking at a property, they've been looking at 2 or 3, and they go back to it and somebody bought it. Urgency gets naturally created that way.
Right.
And the numbers tell that too. I mean,
if the absorption rate's going up, then that means that people aren't going to be able to sit on the sidelines for as long. Logically, sit on the sidelines.
I mean, if they want something, this is the best opportunity with probably the best inventory we'll see. If we get to the point where we have such low inventory, it takes 12 months to 24 months to build a home.
Right.
I mean,
from the time you purchase the lot till you get the keys turned, I tell people it's 18 months for the normal house, because it takes them 30 days to buy it. Then they got to get the drawings for it. Then they got to get the drawings approved, and then a permit and contracts and the build time, and yeah. I mean, I would say the biggest change with buyers is that we've added the permanent resident to the mix. So talked to several people, and people were saying that like 10, 15 years ago, it was like 1% of the population.
Oh, yeah.
Now they're believing it's 10%. Do you
Easily.
Feel like that's the same?
Easily. I would say.
Do you think it's going to grow beyond that?
I do. I mean, you just have to look at the infrastructure that's being built. I mean, roads being improved, roads being put, infrastructure meaning, all the capacity type stuff. But then the things that sustain is, healthcare. I mean, we had no healthcare here for, a long time, and now we have healthcare, and we're adding such a significant component of healthcare over on Highway 79 there in Bay County. Right. I mean, that being a clinical, a research center for Florida State Medical.
What market segments are performing the best right now? Luxury homes, condos, vacant lots, or investment properties?
I mean, I would have said, without really studying the data, I would have said luxury properties. I mean, in the beginning of any cycle, you're always going to see the upper end start to trend higher, and we started seeing those absorptions happen, last year, and as that has moved on, now it's just spread throughout the entire market. You have, really good absorptions throughout every aspect of the market. 343 properties sold in the previous 12 months. The last 12 months, 498.
Oh, wow.
That segment, you have more product in that
Right.
in that price range, but you see the numbers on that. You start to look at some of these other numbers. I mean, anywhere. I think there's certainly a opportunity, probably between if you're building about $1.7 million to $2.5 million in sale price, you've got very low inventory right now in that category. Looking at that particular segment, where exactly are those homes? Where are those located? I know there are a basket of those homes in the 𝘾𝙪𝙧𝙧𝙚 𝙬𝙧𝙀𝙀 the permanent resident folks looking at that type of thing, and they're buying it. I mean, they're buying it higher, but that seems to be an area that when you look at the active numbers based on the absorptions, an area that if you were planning to build something, buying a lot and building a house, you would be. I believe you'd be pretty safe between that range, in that 1.7, 2.5 range right in there. It seems that has now become kind of our what the population is willing to do without any real effort.
What does the current inventory tell us about the opportunities for buyers and sellers?
Current opportunities for buyers and sellers, I would say buyers need to hurry up. I would say they need to giddy up because it just gets to a certain point. If I'm a seller, I probably start thinking, and I'm looking to sell. I've been looking to sell. Probably start kind of looking at getting on the market because I think you're going to continue to see. I mean, I believe interest rates will stay steady. I don't think they're going to make any real changes. I know there's lots of debate about that, but I think interest rates will stay steady, and just everybody just settles into interest rate is not a conversation piece. It's more on the lines of what is the product, where is it, what is the purpose for our buy, and when somebody has been looking at the area and they're considering even a second home that they are looking to make permanent. I mean, I would say they've got. I mean, within the next 8 months to 12 months, make your purchase, put your flag in the ground, or be prepared to pay a little bit more. I think that's probably where we're going to be.
So you think next year, you think that we're starting to bottom out? What I'm hearing from you is we're starting to bottom out on all the prices that are coming down, and some of the prices have already normalized, and you believe by next year, if the absorption rate keeps the way it's going, we're going to start seeing appreciation again next year.
And we don't have some crazy amount of inventory show up. 30A though, being right up on the beach, I would say the time is probably running out for buyers to get the best values right now.
Okay.
But the inventory we've got good inventory, so we're kind of in that little process of transitioning.
You've got your best opportunity at the best price point that you believe they're going to see.
That's right. Yeah, I still think the buyers can really kind of name their price a little bit on certain areas, especially older properties.
Right.
Properties that have been on the market for a longer period of time. I mean, yeah, they can come in and work on that a little bit. But sellers that have homes that are a little newer, 2020, 2021, maybe and later, they're probably going to see opportunities to see a little bit better, I would say, firmer pricing. Right. Going forward.
If you were investing your own money today, where would you place it and why?
I mean, I always like to, if I'm buying real estate, I always like to look at things that are where infrastructure is being put in, new developments, those types of things. I mean, in any development, even the developer doesn't know really what retail prices are. They don't really know, and they're spending money, and so the properties near that infrastructure that spend or stimulus has to move into those properties at some level. So to me, if I'm buying real estate, it's going to be as close as I can to the biggest pieces of infrastructure, new developments, that type thing. That's been the way I've played it, and I've continued to do it that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, I definitely appreciate you taking the time to meet up with me and go over this, and I hope everybody got something Great out of this, Hunter Harmon, local broker, Chris Fox, Taylor Custom Homes. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Chris.